Hello, Wasteland! Yes, welcome back, brothers! That's right, welcome back to Gaslands UK's Car of the Month competition for August 2023. That's right, the fourth season of this competition, my brothers. I'm your host, James Hall of JH Miniatures, and this month has been kindly sponsored and brought to us by John Haywood of Hayland Wargames Terrain. So, just before we get into this video, can we all take a moment to give a massive shout out thank you to John Haywood and Hayland Wargames Terrain. They have a absolutely fantastic array of Gaslands resin and 3D printable files for all you at-home manufacturers out there. And considering the prizes this month, my friends, you are fools if you are not taking the chance to just snap up the scrapyard bits bin deal that they have. It's like £6, I don't know, whatever that is in dollars, and you just get just big bags of miscast wheels and rams and armor plates. I love it. I actually ask my partner for a bag of it every single birthday and Christmas. Oh yes. So before we get started, again, thank you John Haywood for sponsoring this month's competition and for providing prizes for first, second and third place. And what are the absolute outrageous prizes have we got this month? Well, in first place there's a £30 gift voucher for the winner chosen by yours truly, the admin team. In second place, a £25 gift voucher, and in third, a £20 voucher, all for the Hayland Wargame Terrain website. So check them out in the description box down below. Oh yes. And with a sponsor like this and prizes like these on an absolutely atomic level, you know that the theme this month had to be something absolutely eye-opening, absolutely jaw-dropping, absolutely pink and sparkling. That's right, we are talking about the meme that's had every country gripped around the world for this summer. That's right, the Barbie Oppenheimer theme for this month. Oh yes, my goodness. You never thought you'd live to see the day, did you, my brothers? You never thought you'd wake up one day and go, "Oh, I can't wait to work on my Barbie car today." But what can I say? These two absolute titans of their respective film industry smashed together by the popular cultural zeitgeist and brought to you in beautiful, radioactive, glowing Technicolor, an absolute stunning atomic bombshell of a month and a bombshell of an all-star cast. So, can we all take a moment to appreciate the 31 finished entrants we've had this month, my brothers? 31 finished entrants, including yours truly, the king of the Wasteland. So you know this has been an uphill struggle. Oh yes, so from the top we have had Adam Pollard, Carlos Lopez, Daniel Mumford, Dan Caswell, David Bousset, David Traves, Dom Williams, Hardo Pius, James Hall, John Martin, John Simpson Wedge, Jorel Bessie, Kev Williams, Maciej Metrak, Marcio Jose Schaefer, Mark Daniels, Martin Page, Matt Whittam, Matt Morrill, Michael Mersey, Molinaro Dominique, my brother, Nick Kitch, Pete Addercoat, Richard Hubbard, Ricky Williams, Scott Howland, Scott Lewis, Shane Hurd, Tom Whittam, Travis Bedwell, and of course, William Elliott. Alright, so before we get too far into this, boys and girls, we need to have a look at disqualifications and wooden spoons. Oh yes, there are multiples to give out this month. What can I say? It's been a long, hot summer, and I think the heat has gotten to some of us. So, without any further ado, can we just give a massive shout out to the Bristol Independent Gaming Group and Dan Caswell, Michael Mersey, Paul Cook, and Scott Lewis, because fellas, brothers, what a squad we have here of troopers, all entering speed running on August 31st and finishing August 31st. However, I think we need to break this down. Dan Caswell, disqualified. You didn't actually rename any of your submission photos. Follow the guidelines, okay? You're meant to rename them to your name 1, your name 2. So Dan Caswell 1, Dan Caswell 2, okay? Oh my goodness. But hey, you did better than Paul Cook, who, although he finished didn't submit any photos at all, so we can't count his entry in the slightest. So out of the 4 of you, only 2 actually crossed that finishing line. And Michael Mersey and Scott Lewis, brothers, what do you do to me? Just the state of these builds. Michael Mersey, all right, you've come up with something special here, but there's some shady crimes going on with these eyelashes, all right. You're not supposed to use fake eyelashes on your builds, okay? That's for makeup and decoration. That is not for your toy cars. Oh, no wonder the Barbiesaurus got you. She probably wanted them back. And Scott Lewis, my brother, you've just drowned this in paint, haven't you? I'm just dying from how thick this is. And look at the before and after photos. That pink's not that thick. That pink, okay, it's a little bubbly in areas, and it's a little bit thick in areas. But then you look at all the other colours on top, and those passengers, and they are just drowning in that paint. Mate, come on. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to bust you up for having a good time. Clearly, you're all doing it before going off to have a fantastic wargaming evening. So, if anything, congratulations to Scott Lewis for winning that match. Okay, but fellas, if you're entering the competition, you're entering the competition, okay? You have to at least submit your photos in the right format by naming them. You have to at least submit them at all, Paul Cook. We've got more pictures of your build from the game than we do the actual pictures you submitted, because you didn't submit anything. Oh, what can I say, guys? So yes, wooden spoons and disqualifications all around. But remember to follow the guidelines, the submission guidance. Boys, come on. What are you doing? Just record. Okay, so just for context, the reason why we're not going to use this background is because my friend here is invisible unless I'm reaching out to him.
Well, if I put my hand on this side, I appear.
You reappear. So you have to be constantly pointing over there at some point. All right, hello everyone. You all know me, James of JH Miniatures, but I am joined here today by Kirit.
Hi everyone, I'm Kirit. I'm top and tail of a digital sculptor, work in the automotive world. What we tend to do is model the stuff that you see and touch. So we call that the A surface. The engineers tend to work on the structural side, the B surface side, so the back side of surfaces and panels and things like that. So we kind of work together to make what you see in front of you in the car world. Yeah.
And the reason I brought Kirit, who's very kindly accepted my offer for this video to join us and talk about everyone's toy cars, is you've actually been involved in some way in the Barbie film, haven't you?
Yes. So honestly, I could say it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
Compared to the other guys around me, which were a lot more. My friend Kelly, she has her own design consultancy. She managed to obtain the job for digitally modeling the Barbie car, and Kelly, she was responsible for putting all that together and sending that to the model maker, and the model maker then uses that data to machine a full-size car. But as you can see from the film, she sits in the car, it looks proportionally like a toy car. So you can't just go ahead and scale up a classic Corvette, because it'll just look proportionally correct to a human, not a doll, you know. So yes,
absolutely. So check out the Instagram link and it's called LinkedIn profile,
LinkedIn and Instagram and all that sort of stuff. K Design,
yeah, check them out.
Yeah.
With that all said, thank you again so much for coming here today, and let's have a look at some toy cars. So naturally, we need to start with the gold standard for this month, which is, of course, my car, because my car's the best car and should win, but sadly doesn't. But this is a Jaguar XK 120, which was a sort of a post-World War II export car that we made a lot of here in the UK and then sent to America to kickstart the economy and all that. But it's the kind of, this is a very classic Wasteland kind of build. It's a hot rod, it's covered in spikes and guns and all that fun stuff. But this is how do you mesh up Barbie and Oppenheimer, which are two just completely disparate kind of themes. You know, one's plastic dollhouse for girls, and the other one's the father of the atomic bomb during the Second World War. Like, how do you mesh these two things?
I could criticize this,
Well,
but
feel free. You will not offend me. It is perfectly fine. We grow and develop from.
I can't tell you it's not neat and tidy enough. But then again, you have to think about the fact it's post
apocalyptic, yeah.
apocalyptic. So really, you're not going to be mega into the fact that it's not really neat, the lines and through the the top of the door into the what do they call that now? The scuttle panel in the old days.
Like, because things like the door, it is on a hinge, so it does open up, but then it's, what are you seeing?
He's lost the door.
I've actually dropped that. That's gone forever now. But you kind of look at the logic of, okay, you've made it so the door opens, but what are we looking at? We're just looking at Oppenheimer's feet. That's not exactly, what's the point there? Why? And I think it's more when you get hung up on the idea that it's, I'm going to make it so the doors open and the wheels move and custom engine and all this, and it's really unique.
But then again, you have to think you only have 4 weeks to do it.
Yeah.
At some time, even in design world, you've got to stop, or you'll just self-implode.
Yeah, because with any projects, especially with a competition, the time limit, it's there for a reason. It is the car of the month competition at the end of the day. But yeah, you can drive yourself mad trying to tweak and improve things to the nth degree.
One thing that we do in the car world is whenever the boys are photoshopping something up, something that always gives life to a Photoshop image or something they're trying to sell to a chief designer or something, is the detail. The detail brings something to life. It's not necessarily the underlying base of the vehicle, but the detail gives it the soul and the magic and the flavor you want to go for. I suppose I can ask you, what are these green? Are they missiles?
Yeah, so they're
do they fire from there?
No, not at all.
I'm glad they don't. I'll blow the engine out.
They're meant to be like, well, they are rocket casings, but they're meant to be like the rocker covers on the sort of the Hemi V8 engine, as it were.
Okay, cool.
So that's what they. But
I'm glad that you're not putting real missiles next to a real engine,
because it would all just explode horribly. But yeah, so that's the gold standard that we're looking at. So let's have a look at David Bousset. He's actually from Belgium. His admission for this month was this VW camper van that he's converted into a apocalyptic Barbie sort of surf van. Yeah, the actual
slide out.
Yeah, the slide out door with the little guy. Yeah, so
that is so cool. I've seen that somewhere before, but I can't remember. In a movie or a TV show or something. That slide out is so cool.
I can tell you, if you remember Captain Scarlet and the mole or whatever it's called, Spy One, and just a door panel would come out and a little guy on the chair.
Yeah.
I mean, in this case, holding a shotgun, but because that's the thing, there is no off the shelf kit for this stuff. You have to do it all by hand and invent like the mechanisms to make things move.
The creativity element, that is the hardest thing to do in this world, any creative world that is doing this. This is just amazing. It looks you can see that it's a bug. It's got this kind of VW campers feel to it,
even though it's only like that big in scale. Like, that's the reality of this stuff, is that
it looks like the donor vehicle, but then it's quite charming the way it's been done. There's a really sweet softness to the vehicle. The fact that the roof goes back and a huge missile launcher is in there as well. Looks like it's a radar system, and love it. It's got this aggression, but it's really, really gently done. I do love the two-tone of pink and the bleeding of the colour from the darker pink into the upper half. And I love the truck wheels, those ones that you kind of maybe see on those American trucks, the twin axle at the back, and the idea that this vehicle's got to be super stable to take the recoil from that huge missile thing.
And it has sort of hidden away in the back as well, that you see every now and then, these sort of ridiculous jet engines that are sort of attached inside. But
the fact there's a human element to the people driving and firing, that they've got a surfboard.
Yeah.
And they can go chill out. And
I mean, the rust is just on point, because that has to be done by hand. There's no tool that you can use to just, one spray, that's it. That beautiful sort of effect there. That's all painted by a brush, or with, at the top end of the scale, this is what it looks like. So now let's now plunge ourselves headfirst into some of the real rubbish stuff that people come out with. So David Traves here with his car that he's painted pink and hot heels. And
that's actually quite clever.
what, taking out the W in
Yeah.
wheels, hot heels. I don't, it does work. Any other month, any other theme, it wouldn't make sense. But for Barbie, it's just a car that he's painted pink, and that's basically it. There's almost no customizing work, no modification. The wheels are the same wheels that come with that toy car.
Okay. I mean, the good stuff about this one, I can say that the effort on the rust side, painting rust isn't easy anyway.
No.
They I like the fact there's a rocket. That's not a standard rocket launcher, is it?
No, it's a real weird combination. Like there's even some beads in there at the back for some reason. It could be a rocket launcher, it could be a heavy machine gun, or just gas tanks. This is the kind of did it in a few days.
Okay.
There's my entry submitted. Because again, it's you get people like myself and we go all guns blazing. I want to really bring this vision to life. And then the kind of the casual hobby enthusiast that just there's my entry.
I think if I was pushing that a bit further, if David could just take that model and just got the roof off it, and put some characters in, get it into that convertible look, maybe, and then it changes the dynamic of the car. Let's see it with a couple of characters there, and give it that human touch, that kind of life,
like a lived-in sort of feel.
One thing that's really important, I think, is having characters, because it gives it that proportional feel as well. It's the same in the design world. If something like this, like your first option was given to the chief designer, he would say, well, it's a good start, let's push it on, let's see and then using that as your base, and then seeing what you can do with it. Even if you're a dab hand at drawing, draw it down on paper, and then seeing what it will look like.
Okay, so this chap called Marcio, I can't pronounce his name. So he did a lot of work. So this is kind of a before shot, as it were. Did a lot of sort of 3D modeling and printing his own bits for this, because at home sort of resin 3D printers, it's massively taken off. Just because Barbie always drives a summer convertible doesn't mean that a Barbie Oppenheimer build has to be Barbie's car. It could be, one of any number of Wasteland vehicles.
This reminds me of a car in the movie. Some of you may have seen it. It's the car that they used in a film called Tango and Cash. They need to borrow a car to break into this massive building, and
What is that? That is an RV from hell.
Reminds me of it, and I think that's why I'm quite.
It's very compact, but it's that sort of people mover, sort of minivan, sort of base body. For want of a better term, it's spherical, similar to the Trinity project that's on top of it. My only sort of takeaway when I was sort of previously looking at this is going, okay, I can see all of that, but if you were to remove the Trinity project from on top, what does it actually do as part of the rest of the build? Is it meant to be there as like a last ditch suicide thing? Like if it goes over, or if it's about to explode, they can just detonate. Okay, it adds the Oppenheimer side of the theme, but how does it tie in? Is it meant to be like a nuclear reactor that's fueling the vehicle? But then it looks like it's got all the mechanisms it needs to actually get up and go.
I love the color balance as well. It's not too much pink and not too much black and rust. There's a balance in there, and
it's a solid middle of the road entry, because there's a lot here that is just 3D printed, and I feel we should go back to that previous. And you put these images online. Like this isn't like some secret behind the scenes. Like no, he's quite proud of the stuff that he's 3D modeled or things that he's downloaded and modified. But then it's, other than sort of like the armor over the windscreens and the roof rack with that wonderful pipe work, it's, how much of this is him and how much of this is just kind of fiddling with it on a computer and printing it off, and that's it.
You can get lost in the CAD world
of
not seeing proportions, and it's a true talent to do what's happened there, with all the 3D printed parts to prepare and print stuff like that, and that's just on the flip side of the coin of having the true talent to put bits together to make that, that Blue Peter style. I don't know how many of your viewers are watching that back in the day, from all around the world. Yeah, it might be on BBC Classic or something, but just that putting together and from here and here and here.
Because this was so Maciej Metrak, one of our Polish compadres. This one I feel kind of just misses the mark, but there's a lot of lovely detail. Like I love the use of decals and like that American star, but on the pink, the Barbie pink. And again, not being afraid to change up the colours, because just because it's a Barbie theme doesn't mean it has to be a pink car.
I love the SL, which is this. The way this has been done is, I've got a soft spot for this just because of the base car, probably.
Yeah.
I do like when you can make out what the base vehicle is. I think for me that's important anyway. The strength and aggression that can be added, the power. Even looking from the underside, it looks like it's dropped on this military framework,
Yeah.
So it looks like it's been thought from the inside out, from the underside. Often with design, it's the Easter egg of looking at how neat something is designed, even if it's probably only seen once in its lifetime on a vehicle. Well, the door naturally comes with gold wing doors, and there's the one open on this side, and on the other side it's just completely removed for whatever reason, probably to make room for the giant missiles that it's carrying. But then one of my, and I know you boys and girls at home know this, but one of my ultimate pet peeves will always be when you have a car and it's all one colour, but cars are made up of body panels, and body panels get replaced, they get damaged, they have to be, they get so mangled they have to be removed. So having body panels in different colours from one another, I love it when I see it, and I call it out. And like having the gull wing door, that beautifully bright shade of pink, contrasting with the sort of the gunmetal of the body, and it looks like it's rusting not aggressively across the body, but just it's starting to spread across the edges, where the seam seals are between the panels. So, but
it is a nice one. It is. I do like Maciej's work. Let's have a look at something a little bit different with everyone's favourite French kind of surrealist, Molinaro Dominique's entry, who combined, again, sort of a summer convertible, but with a great big red button at the front and back. So should someone bump into it, just, it all ends in tears.
I can't believe that. That's mad. It's. Are
you distracted by
it's working on the move. I think that's a good way of describing it. It's a huge piece of functional aggression. I think the figures are adding a bit of movement to
because they're actively they're incorporated in and around it. So they add both a wonderful sense of scale to everything involved. That's why little people, they make a build so much harder, but they're so worth it when you do feature them in there. But they also gives a wonderful sense of life to the whole thing. I mean, I'll always point out with Molinaro being our resident French mad scientist, the design is just completely alien. But just things like the rust work, which is just so beautifully done with the weathering, the streaks of grime, and all this wonderful texture. It's
even along just a little bit along the door where it looks like you've had a parking whack, and the rust is dripping from the chip paintwork. Those little things make that slight bit of realism to it. It's the rust is seeping from the fact that the surface has been ebbed away, or chipped, or the weathering as it drops, and that's a talent for painting for sure.
Absolutely. And it's because this thing, it is a silly build, isn't it? It's a summer convertible with this great big atomic bomb at the back, and it's all connected up to these big red buttons.
I love the humor on that big red button. There's something really cheeky and fun. Well, there's one on there's one on the back as well.
And back,
so there's
I have to be so selective with because the big arse that's on top, but there is a big red button on the back as well, and it is that.
I think if I was to be a critic on this one, I think the headlamps are a bit lazy.
Yeah, they are. They let it down a bit, don't they?
Because it makes it there is a level of humour you can take with something, but that just makes it too clown-like.
Like if they were clear, similar to that that wonderful windscreen. Yeah, if they were just clear, similar to that windscreen, or if they were just blacked out, you don't have to have headlights that are there and glowing and ready for action. They can just be knackered. They can just be damaged. They can just be.
I mean, for me, the rest of the vehicle is just so well thought out in a way. Unless if there's a good reason for it, I just think the yellow headlamps is last minute thing. I just colour it in yellow.
Yeah, I've perfectly thought out the rest of this build, but what do I do about these? Like that wonderful sense of humor. It's like, because these wasteland vehicles, they're designed to crash into each other and knock each other about and shoot at each other and all this, and then you've got this one vehicle that's like, well, do you really want to do that? Do you really? Do you really want to bump into me by mistake? Because it won't end well for both of us. Martin Page, I think. So this one's a simple one. This isn't terribly complicated, but it is very much to the point.
You know what's really charming about this one is that it is just so clean and straight to the brief. There's a big level of honesty to it. Like I said earlier on, the details can bring something to life, and the purity of the body lets all the detail hang really nicely on that.
When it comes to these modifying cars, there is a temptation to just completely cover them in extra armor and body panels and rusty bits of corrugated iron and all this, but then the actual base car just becomes invisible. Like you're not going to see it under this driving welded together junkyard that's coming at you. It is a big American strong sort of muscly truck that's carrying this sort of ridiculous atomic bomb catapult. Really, that's the only thing. I mean, okay, I'm always a sucker for again panels, but also the separation between the panel lines. But it's just missing here.
I think what I would have seen is the missiles and the bombs and things like that to be really neat.
Yeah,
and clean, because they're the things that you in the real world probably will have to be that way. They can't be just hammered together. I could see this build going forwards if you'd work again on the bomb and make it look straight out of the factory, because it's been freshly unveiled to just be bolted onto this. And I think this build would lift so much more just even doing that small upgrade on this.
This is a classic example of if that catapult arm with the atomic bomb wasn't on there, what on this build actually ties it into the Oppenheimer side of the Barbie Oppenheimer theme. Because the atomic bomb, the military sort of weapon side of it all makes sense, but then you see you take that out of the picture and it is just a lovely pink truck which is very tied into the Barbie side of things. But other than the occasional decal or bit of lettering, there's nothing that really ties it into that the Oppenheimer side of that coin. And it is that sort of two-face, you have to have both elements there, otherwise it doesn't work. But
there's definitely room for a little figure on the back.
Yes.
I think in that
little person with a wrench or something.
Even if they're hanging off,
clinging onto this thing as it's If we balance that with Matt Whittam's entry, where we'll try and hold on to the surprise for as long as we physically can. So this is absolutely enormous build, as you can see. This is not it's still in scale with Hot Wheels toy cars, but as you can see from the door panel there, that's the size of a Hot Wheels door panel. So this thing is huge. Like these are monster truck tires. So very into the sort of Oppenheimer side, with this being a big bomb on wheels that is being driven. The actual surprise to it is the fact that it opens up into this massive sort of post-apocalyptic Barbie's dream house.
This is mad, yet fantastic as well. I love that there's the cheeky charm of car furniture.
The passenger seats as a sofa,
and the stools and the
stools as tires as stools,
and the fact there's a pool in there as well, or
like a little hot tub.
Yeah, that's right. You'd expect to go and buy that in a shop, probably. Some of this stuff's really good, and this is just kind of epic. Just the sheer size of it. It's Barbie's motorhome come Oppenheimer. That's what this is. I'm guessing that little
Corvette
Yeah,
Extra.
it looks like it drives up the ramp. That's
Yeah,
it.
there you go.
Just like Barbie. I'm sure one of Barbie's previous motorhomes had something like this going on. I like the fact that it's kind of more covert, the Barbie side of this vehicle.
Yeah.
It's in the heart rather than on the face, on the outside.
There's a level of finish here that does make it feel like an actual sort of thing that you could go out and buy. Like yeah. What's the whole thing about cars having a face and the headlights?
Yeah,
that's
that's
a little menacing.
And the thought, even I'd love to see if there was any drawings to this. If it would be nice if
what kind of
sketching it out, or is it just pure straight into smashing stuff together?
I know when he entered, I'm sure his submission picture. So
this looks like a picture of a shelf
of
stuff.
It is. That's what he started with, just whatever rubbish he got collected. Normal again, like the different kind of little people and miniatures that people get, right? I mean, it is just staggering the amount of stuff that's gone, the amount of effort that's gone into the build, and the fact that it opens up into this whole sprawling complex. But then you look at like the ladder folds up and the front end of it closes neatly, and there's even the ramp that the car comes down, that just neatly fits inside. Like it is well thought out. I bet there's a part of you that wasn't expecting to see this when you came to
see Barbie's motorhome.
Barbie's post-apocalyptic crib on wheels. It is eye-watering stuff. Now, I think that all said, I've got one more I'd like to show you. I think it's worth looking at, just because from a concept standpoint, it's just really weird. It's just really weird. So this is a chap called John Martin, and our best guess is that this is meant to be a wedding car for Barbie and Oppenheimer after they've tied the knot, I guess, because you've got like the little ribbon on it.
Runaway bride type of thing.
Yeah, I guess, because she's sort of on the back there on top of the atomic bomb, wearing a sort of a wedding dress that's made out of toilet paper or kitchen towel or whatever it is. But then just married, atomic bombs on the really should be chain, really, if you're going to do it. Have it sort of straps or something holding the bomb down, and have these be chains. But it's a real strange build. It'd be interesting to hear your take on this mess that we're looking at.
As I said, I love humour. This is brilliant. This is the thing that I think most people get afraid to do, is when you're set a brief. And I had very good lecturers when I started my university degree. I was told by one lecturer and this was not even in automotive design, this was when I was doing art and design.
Yeah.
The most creative people will deconstruct that brief and make it their own, but still fulfill the brief. Yeah. And I think this is what this is, deconstructing the brief. Almost like as if you go to a fancy restaurant and it's fish and chips, but it's all deconstructed into
fish and chips,
lots of fancy
versions,
peas and all sorts of things. Yes, so this is a real deconstruction of the brief to make it their own. Almost like a sequel movie that's been,
because I think that's the thing. It is when you look at the Barbie Oppenheimer kind of the meme that took over the world, the kind of the Barbenheimer, the whole thing.
If there was ever a Barbie sequel movie, I wouldn't be surprised to see a cameo from Oppenheimer in, like a doll or something. That's printing money for Warner Brothers. That.
Yeah, you're right. They would have to have like a throwaway line, or like a desk ornament or something that's like the Trinity sphere, or they would have to do something that's a throwaway. I mean, John Cena cameos in Barbie. I had no idea until I saw the film, and then I was like, oh my god, it's John Cena. It's all the weird, like, just to take it back to John's build from it, it's all the weird little extra details, like the wind direction thing. I can't even think of what it's called now, but that orange and white striped sort of sock there, it's so strange, and it's
not even trying to be a rust bucket.
No, it's
like the best one in the garage. As well, and it has to be because it's your wedding day. You can't go around in a rust bucket until your honeymoon.
You're driving this because it's what you've got. Yeah, it's ready.
You can always cut the strings and drop some bombs along the road on the way.
But enough enough, my brothers, enough beating around the bush. Without any further ado, it is time to announce the winners of this month's competition. Oh yes, so start the apocalyptic crescendo one last time, my brothers, because the winner of Gaslands UK's Car of the Month competition for August 2023 is Nick Kitch. Yes, Nick, congratulations, my brother. Come on down, my friend. Oh, it has been such a long, winding road for you, hasn't it, my brother? So close to the mark, time after time. I know a little something about that myself, but what can I say? This is an absolutely justly won victory, my brother. Oh, yes. What can I say? You have been hammering out some fantastic builds for this competition. I mean, from January all the way up to now, we've had some brilliant entries from you. And your painting and modelling work just continues to get better and better. And this is the thing. It ain't about having the most outrageous 3D printed parts. It ain't about who can scratch build the most coolest looking engine, which we know is me, guys. Come on, just admit it. It's about a build that just ties up the theme and the concept and the execution and the paint job and the bits, and it just brings it all together and it binds it into something so wonderful and perfect. I mean, look at the lovely paint job here, the lovely bits of rust, the lovely bits of weathering and dirt and textures around the tires. I mean, this is what it's about, my brothers. And don't get me wrong, I was taking part this month myself. I know what it's like to fly close to the sun. But at the end of the day, Nick, buddy, pal, it's been a long time coming.
I like the fact that it is quite simple, but quite powerful at the same time. You know, it's a proportion exercise. It's really well done. The proportion of the character to the head at the top of the windscreen, you know, it's got that kind of toy element to it.
And just absolutely congratulations, my friend, because you deserve this. What a fantastic entry. It is something I think we can all look up to and go, you know what? God damn it, I'm going to make myself one of them because that's so cool looking. Love it. Absolutely love it, Nick. And honestly, mate, I want to see you keep coming back. I want to see you take on the 12 of 12 every single month without fail, my brother. Oh, yes, because honestly, you've got it. You've got the spark in you to go far in this contest. There's Car of the Year winning material in here, my friends. Ah, fantastic stuff. In second place, we have, of course, this is one coming out of real left field. I bet you didn't see this when you woke up this morning. That's right, I'm talking about Jarrell Bessie's build for this month. Oh, yes. Oh, my friend Jarrell. Oh, there's a part of you that thought, man, I keep entering this competition and I never win anything. Well, you know what? John Hayward was absolutely blown away by your design. I love the use of actual Barbie toy bits in this, like the giant 3D printed coat hanger holding up the atomic bomb. Like, it's just such a silly build, isn't it? And this is the thing, you know, it's not always about like making the most super serious build. Sometimes in this competition it's about having a little bit of fun. It looks like an accessory she would have in her wardrobe. Like this is this is Atomic Bomb Barbie wakes up in the morning, right, these are my earrings, this is my dress, and this is, you know, my handbag that I take about my day that could level a city and destroy a nation. Like, mate. I love it. Absolutely love it. What a wild design. So enjoy the £25 voucher that's on its way to you, Jarrell. And finally, in third place, how could I not talk about my boy, John Simpson Wedge's entry? Oh, yes. Absolutely blown away by the techniques pulled off here. This is the thing, boys and girls. You look at it and think, did he just hit this with a hammer? No. My man here had to recreate panels of this car from scratch, from plastic. He had to model them to look the same as the non-damaged panels before then damaging them and heating them and bending them and twisting them. It's like a two-faced car. It's like the Joker. It's like Harvey Dent. It's a two-faced car from Batman. It's the good and evil, the yin and yang, the polyester and plastic world of Barbie mixed with the absolute atomic annihilation of Robert Oppenheimer. And mate, you pulled the look off absolutely fantastically. Love it. Absolutely love it. And enjoy the £20 voucher that's on its way to you, my friends. But as you all know, my brothers, there is one last prize that needs to be handed out, as it has been foretold since the dawn of this competition, or at least the televised side of it, since 2020, I, James Hall, give away my finished entry to one of you lucky boys and girls that truly raised the bar this month and pushed themselves to the absolute limit. They pushed them to the cords on the tyres. That's right. And as it has been said before, so it shall be said again, I have chosen as my Wasteland approved winner of this month none other than Tom Whittam to receive my finished entry. Yes, my friend, I bet you weren't expecting that when you took part this month. What can I say? I bet there was a part of you thinking, oh, it's only going to go to Matt. I don't know why I bother taking part. And I know you and Matt do some absolutely fantastic builds. And I know sometimes I know exactly what it feels like to be overshadowed by someone else, especially with this enormous Barbie playhouse extravaganza that he put together. But the reality is you kept it simple, you kept the concept on point. I love the little RC plane with the nuclear bomb that comes out. I think that's a wonderful addition. Honestly, mate, you've got it in you to go far in this contest and with your model making and painting in general. So I look forward to seeing what else you have in store for us this year. So honestly, Tom, enjoy Atom Bomb Barbie as it makes its way to you. I'll have to contact you and Matt for the address so I can post this thing out. As always, your build is Wasteland approved and you join an incredibly exclusive club of builders. Before we end it on a high, we have to finally state, after 15 months of taking part from 2020 all the way up till now, I feel it in me. This is a good time to stop entering now, because there's a little bit of me that dies every time I send an entry out. There's a little bit of me that hurts.
I fashioned a prison that you couldn't leave without sacrificing your heart's desire. It must have been like tearing off your own arm.
It is like tearing off my own arm every time. And I love seeing the happiness my builds bring to all of you. But it's a lot to do that, to do the competition video, to do everything that goes into maintaining this community of ours. And always remember, we are one of the last remaining Gaslands competitions out there. All the others faded into the sands. What can I say? So to keep this ship afloat, I'll be taking a step back from entering, which in the short term won't actually change much because it's only once a year in August, ain't it? But to end this video on a high note, my brothers, do not despair, because as one absolutely radioactive competition month ends, another is soon to be seen on the horizon, because after August there is September. Massive thank you to Kirit for taking part in this episode. I mean, come on, how many competitions out there in this community that are still left that can actually go so far as to get someone that worked on a car in the film to actually talk about your entries? That's got to be worth something, right, boys and girls? My goodness. So again, massive thank you to Kirit. So, as always, my brothers, thank you all for watching. Check out the sponsor in the link down below, and I will see you all in September's Car of the Month video. Thank you, my brothers, and